up, everybody? This is DJ Thielen, CEO of Fortune Foreclosures, founder of Flipping on Demand, and your host for DJ's Dugout, where every single week we bring you an entrepreneur, a professional athlete, somebody to inspire you to be better in your life and business. And today on the show, I have a guy that I can actually call a good friend of mine and a total entrepreneur. You're going to hear his story here today. Mr. Zelig Austin. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Doing good, man. Doing good. So you're out in Columbus, man. How's the weather out there?
It's actually nice, man. It's like 80 plus today.
I heard it's been hot. Like out in PA, they were saying they had a streak of like 90-degree days or something.
Yeah, it's been pretty warm. I think it's supposed to get some rain this weekend, but right now it's pretty nice.
Yeah, rain this weekend, snow next week.
You never know, man. It is Ohio.
And 90 the following week, right? Yeah, man, I know that's how it goes. Hey, man, so on the show, basically just wanted to, I want you to share with the people kind of where you came from and where you live now and a little and just really what you do right now.
Cool. I am from Cleveland, Ohio, originally born and raised in Cleveland. Ended up moving down to Columbus initially in about 2006. So 2-hour drive, not far, not far. I'll actually do business in both cities, Columbus and Cleveland. So, but that's where I'm at now. Right now, Cleveland and Columbus are my two stomping grounds. So up in Cleveland pretty often because I got family there still. So that's where I'm at right now. Columbus.
Are you gonna, now? Hey, I gotta ask you, man. What do you think of them of LeBron going?
Oh, you know what, man? He did what he could do here.
Yeah,
man. I mean, in Cleveland, they weren't going to be able to put. I don't think they would have been able to put a championship team around him. It's just Golden State now. I mean, and everybody else. So
yeah,
it was a championship. I don't think anybody in Cleveland dreamed about the Cavs going to the finals 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
So he did that. So I'm good. I think everybody in Cleveland is cool with that.
Yeah.
Now the first time, everybody was pissed off at him. I won't say everybody. Most people were pissed off at him the first time. But this time around, he says it's a family decision. We all got to do that sometime.
Yeah.
Everything he's got going on. I mean, he's done so much in the city and still doing so much.
Hey, man, now we just need the Cleveland. Now you just need the Cleveland Browns to come along, man.
That's it. Hey, from 0-16 to 16-0.
Yeah. Exactly. That'd be amazing, man. Hey, so anyway, sorry, we got off tangent. So you're from Cleveland. Go ahead.
Yep, from Cleveland, living in Columbus now. I've been down here, moved down initially in 2006, but then I moved away. Now I'm back in Columbus. So yeah. I was doing some working in manufacturing, and in Cleveland, a plant closure brought me down to the Columbus area. That was when I was working in more of a corporate setting.
Yep.
Which I'm no longer doing. As you know, right now, working in real estate, have a real estate business, wholesaling, getting into fix and flips, doing that now. And I'm also doing some consulting work as well.
Nice, man. I didn't know that.
Stuff.
Hey, man, we'll have to chat on that.
Yeah.
And so basically, you've got a great story, man. We're going to share. And so, those of you that are watching or listening into the podcast today, Jesse Dillo says, "What's up, DJ Alfred? What's up, buddy?" Yeah. So basically, there's so many people out there that come from the corporate world, right? You grew up. We're going to hear your story in a second, and they all of us have fear, but some people, it's always scary to take that leap. It's always scary to leave that comfort zone of that job and to go, man, you know what? I want what's over here. And you faced that dragon, for a while, as far as doing stuff part-time, having your, wanting to go and be the entrepreneur full time, but having that security of the job and kind of being torn, in between both. Obviously, you started to share a quick story before we went live, and I want to pick up there. So you were sharing with me that when you were younger, at the age you started working. Share with the people on here about that real quick. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, well, my parents have 6 kids, so 3 boys, 3 girls. So years ago, I mean, my father was working in a manufacturing job, working as a machine operator, and he had a business, part-time business he was doing on the side for demolition, tearing down garages, doing roof jobs and stuff like that. His plant that he worked at, his hourly job, full-time job, ended up closing down. So plant closure, then he had to basically do his demo business full-time. The problem was he didn't necessarily have full-time employees. It was kind of him, a couple friends he'd get, whenever he was doing it part-time, but now he's got to do it full-time, and he needed some employees. Well, at the time, I was about 9. My brother, older brother, he was 13 or so. Then I've got a younger brother who's even younger than me. We started working with him. So I was 9 years old when I started working. At the time, my younger brother was a little young to work. He was about 4 or 5. So when he became 8 or 9, he was out on the truck with us. So my school days were in the school year was get your homework done and let's go to work. So after homework, you're out on the back of a truck, either in the garage or doing a roof job or something in that demolition field, in that arena. So then summers was just the same thing. I mean, all summer we were working full time with my father. So it was no riding bikes and playtime. It was out working 8-10 hours a day all summer long, sometimes, most days of the week. So that's kind of where I got my work ethic from. And I got from him was, the don't quit thing, man. I mean, my father is 80 years old, DJ. And I was up in Cleveland checking on one of our flip projects. And I stayed with my parents to spend some time with them. I wake up around 5 o'clock in the morning. My father's on the couch doing crunches. He was doing so many of them. I thought something was wrong. And then he's got his little weights. He's down there curling and doing his whole workout. So, that whole don't quit thing. So whenever I feel like I'm like, man, it's getting tough. I need to quit. I just think about what he's done, man.
Oh,
and
dude, that's
don't quit attitude. His motto is, if I don't use it, I'll lose it. So he still refuses to fully retire.
Wow, man. Hey, and that's why he's dude, the mind is so powerful. I remember when my mom turned 40 and my brother and I were laughing, man, because I'm 47 now. And when my mom turned 40, they had this over the hill part. I'm thinking, damn, 40, like over the hill, like she's gonna like you only got 5 more years to live. And
not much left.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I know we're like our clock's ticking. So yeah, man, and I always try to speak life like, hey, I'm gonna live to be 100. I always say that. And just to hopefully, I guess, try to convince myself that that's where I want to be, So tell me a little about, so you learned a work ethic at a really, really young age.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, am I freezing a little bit?
You're starting to freeze up. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. I don't know if it's the connection here, or let me try some. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better.
All right, there you go. You look good.
Is that better? Okay. So basically, you learned how to work hard at an early age, which is a huge blessing. It's a huge benefit, man. I mean, for any kid, to learn. Thank God we didn't have cell phones back then, man. Dude. Yeah. Pops would have been like, dude, come on, pick the shovel up, put that damn thing down.
He knew better, man. If he caught you with your hands in your pocket, you're in trouble. It was over. So if we had cell phones, I would just left mine at home just so I wouldn't be tempted.
Oh man, I'm telling you. Yeah, thank God we didn't have cell phones. But So you learned. So you were actually working. I don't even know if that shit's legal, but you were actually working. You were actually working at 9 years old, and basically probably, I don't know if you were getting paid or, probably just to put food on the table.
That's it. Yeah, our pay was food on the table and a roof over our head.
Yeah. Hey, kids.
Needed something, $20 here and there, but I mean, it was no normal pay or anything like that. It was just helping to provide. That was what we were doing.
Yeah. So started working at 9 for Pops to go out and starting to. Devin says hi. So you started working at 9. There's people that are 29, 39 and not working. So you started working at 9, learned that work ethic, learned from your dad as that model, not to give up. Now, there's a lot of people, me personally, I didn't have a dad in the mix. And so but I saw my mom work all day and then literally go to her job during the day and then go and work a bartending job at night. And, so I was still able to see that, from and having an example. But there's a lot of people, man, that don't have an example of that anywhere in their life. And there's people that are listening to this that might feel stuck, or they might feel like, gosh, why can't I push through and go to that next level? Talk about obviously I don't have planned questions for anything. We just kind of flow on what's off the top of the dome. But talk about so you were in the corporate world, had this desire to get into real estate. Talk about your transition from when you first started and where you've come to and what you've come through.
Cool. And I'll go back to the working industry was the same my father worked in before his layoff. So I went in as an hourly worker, hourly employee, and with the work ethic and my goal was to work the job, go to school, and get the heck out of there and leave the industry pretty quickly. That didn't necessarily happen. I ended up working the job, and then when I was about 23 years old, 22, 23, they wanted to promote me into management. It was never something I wanted, but with the work ethic that I had and the stuff that I talked about a little bit ago that my father taught me, it put me in a position. My brother as well put us in a position where they brought us up into management with the company. And at that point, I'm like, oh man, this is cool, man. Money was decent, money was good. And, I was young. I was 23, making more than kids with law degrees and things of that nature that I went to school with. One of my cousins, as a matter of fact, was a lawyer, and he had just had all this tuition. And I'm like, man, I don't have any of the tuition that I have to pay back, the student loans, and I'm making this money. But the hours, man, I was putting in 12 hours a day most days and 6 days a week, sometimes 7, depending on what was going on at the plant. And I'm like, man, this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life. So that was in 2014, I actually left my job and had a little idea of what I wanted to do. My brothers had started up a business in basically doing some dumpsters, and had dumpsters and rubbish removal for houses and things of that nature, for foreclosed homes and whatnot. I thought about joining them, and that was what I was going to do initially, but then I decided not to do that. So I really left not knowing what the heck I was going to do. So it just so happened that took some money down, and I was able to invest in a few mentoring programs to find out if this was what I wanted to do. My fiance, years before, had done some wholesaling in Cleveland when I was actually working a full-time job. So I knew a little bit about wholesaling, didn't know a lot about it. And she had since stopped. But down here in Columbus, she had a guy's card, and I called him while I was working on some deals that I was doing through a mentoring program. Ended up putting together a deal for, I think the deal that he and I did was like $25,000. I'm like, man, well, all right, maybe I can make something happen with this. Maybe I can make something work. And then did another deal that same month for like $8,000 on my own. So So I kind of stumbled into wholesaling all over again, and then wholesaling the proper way than what she had been doing at the Cleveland. So that's kind of how I stumbled into the real estate.
But what about, hey, so you went through, when you say mentorship, so you said, hey, I need to learn how to do this. I don't want to, because you see a lot of people, I want to figure it out, right? Well, hey, it doesn't matter if it's real estate, if it's wholesaling, right? But you see it a lot, especially in wholesaling. Like, okay, how long you been doing it? 5 years. How many deals you done? 1. It's like, dude, do you realize like how many hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars that you've lost because your ego or something inside you says, no, I'll figure it out on my own. And a lot of times that's a limiting belief or something that is causing a self-sabotage, if you want to call it. But a lot of times, when people step out and invest in mentorship and invest with someone to help take them to the level that they want to go, it can be a little scary, like, oh man, is this worth it? What am I getting myself into? But what I can tell you guys, and I'm sure you can too, buddy, anytime I've paid and invested in myself to make myself better, to learn from other people that are doing more than me, it's always raised my game. I've never lost on an ROI on it. Every single time it has made me tenfold whatever I invested with a mentor. So if you guys are out there and you're not at the level you want, look and find, there's a lot of people, you can find them online, but whatever you're trying to do, find somebody that's doing exactly what you want to do and see if you can, sometimes it's not affordable. Sometimes it's, could be but listen, anything is affordable, right? Like if someone told me, hey, I'm going to kill your child, which my son's on here. I'm going to kill your son if you don't bring me $100,000 by Friday, right? And it's Wednesday. I'm finding the $100,000, right?
Yeah.
And listen, mentorship isn't $100,000. I'm just saying, but people go, oh, this is 1,000 or it's 500 or it's 20,000 or whatever. Oh, I don't have it. And that mindset, like, listen, if you keep doing, and I heard someone say this, if you keep doing what you're doing and you're guaranteed 100% that nothing will change, right? If you're not happy where you're at in life and anything, but you keep doing what you're doing, you're guaranteed 100% that nothing's going to change. However, if you take a leap of faith, you do something out of your comfort zone, you do something that's new, that stretches you, that allows you to grow, then now there's a chance, right? Now there's a chance that, hey, maybe this works. Maybe it doesn't, okay? Not everything is going to work in life. But if it doesn't, now you have some valuable lessons that you can learn from and say, man, this didn't work, but that's cool. Look at what I learned. Look at the connections I made. Look at this friend that I made out of this that, is buying deals and I made $100,000 on. So it's a bigger picture than a lot of people think on the mentorship. Jesse chimed in and said mentorship, changed our lives. How has it changed your life?
Big time. I mean, I one thing you talk about is not only the information you get, but the networking that you can also, I mean, through working with you, I've met and still talk to and still work with a lot of the folks within the group. So not just the information, because for me, I had bought a program before I bought into the mentoring stuff, the mentorship. I bought the program that kind of gave me the whole layout of the system, and you can kind of go at it alone, and I'm like, all right, I had it for like 3 months and didn't do anything with it. I read a little bit, watched some videos, didn't do a damn thing with it. And then I'm like, man, if I don't get up and at least have somebody walk me through this, hold my hand for a little bit, and then show me how to do this, it's not gonna work. I'm not gonna do it. Because it seemed like it was like a program that was like all these videos and all this information. I didn't know what the heck I was looking at for the most part. So with that mentor kind of giving me a call every week, we talked. We jumped on the phone. I told him what my issues were. He helped me through them. He told me, hey, do this, do these 1, 2, 3 things, and let's touch base next week and see how it goes. And just walking through that process of getting that first deal under contract, getting that first one out there and marketing it the way you should, and then all the way to finding your buyer, and he's walking you through what papers you need for documents for closing. So for me, that was golden. And then after that, it was then the relationships that I began to build because I'm out here doing a few deals here and there. I was actually now at some of the groups, the RIA groups that they had told me to get into, meeting other investors, learning more stuff, not just about what works as a whole, but what was working specifically in my neighborhood, because now I'm linked up to other investors right in my neighborhood, right in my backyard. So that mentoring program opened up so many doors for me. And then it also told me that don't be cheap. Invest in yourself.
Hey, if you listen, this is huge, man, that you're touching on this, because it's and we haven't talked about this, but it's so you see people say, oh, well, I'm trying to sell this properties and I keep getting resistance. And then, but when they look at themselves, it's like, okay, well, if someone comes to me, hey, hey, DJ, everyone I'm talking to, they're overanalyzing this. Okay, let's talk about something. You ready? Yeah. Are you an overanalyzer? And they're silent. Yeah. Do you make quick decisions? No. Are you cheap on everything? Yeah. Do you invest in yourself? No. It's like, listen, you're going to have a disconnect if you're trying to, run a business, start your own real estate flipping, entrepreneur, wholesaling, paint store, hardware store. It doesn't matter what kind of MLM business, whatever you're starting. If you're not, it's a be do have. If you're not being that person and that you want to attract that same kind of client, man, there's going to be a massive disconnect. And it's almost like you can feel this. Why is stuff not working? It's like you're swimming upstream and everything's so hard. And that's because you have to become the person you need to be before you start really having a high level of success. I believe that. Or if you want to go to the next level, what I want to ask you is, so obviously we all agree mentorship, and you guys listening to this, find a mentor, find someone that fits, that you like, that you jive with, and definitely talk to them about how they can help you. As far as going from the corporate mindset, right, to the entrepreneur full time, you had that breakthrough a couple years ago. So you're working full time in the corporate world, doing well, and you were doing this you were building your wholesaling real estate business on the side. And then it just got to a point where it's like, man, I just have to make the jump. It's scary. Obviously, anytime you take a step like that, how difficult was that for you to do? And then, what are some of the great things that happen once you step through that fear of starting your own business full time, doing it? Yes, there's challenges. We all know that. But what are some of the things that once you step through that fear that you were now, a year or two later, that you're able to have and experience, I guess?
Okay, so to backtrack a little bit, after I first jumped out of the business or the corporate environment in 2014, and found out what I wanted to do. So by the end of 2014, I started taking the mentoring program, and two different mentoring programs. Closed a couple of deals in December, the month of December 2014. But the thing of it was, my mindset was still the same as it was before when I was working in the corporate world. So I didn't reinvest in my business the way I should have. I did some things, caught up on my bills, and by 2015, June of 2015, I needed to
bought a Rolex.
Yeah. Well, I lost the Rolex. No. But so by 2015, by June of 2015, I ended up having to go back to the corporate world and back into management. And so I worked there for 2 years, but all while I was doing it, I was like, man, something didn't work out right for me. I don't know what it was. Screwed it up. So I'm back in the corporate world. All the while I was still doing the real estate part-time. So what I did was I ended up going to Mark Evans' mastermind group meeting. Went to one of those, and mind you, I sat in corporate meetings with top VPs and area vice presidents and big corporations, vice presidents from big companies, and I'm listening to their conversation. These guys are making $500,000 a year, somewhere around there, and up, and they're talking about. One guy said, when I was young, I wanted things, so I didn't mind working overtime. I didn't mind working 12 hours a day. I didn't mind doing this. There's a conversation about younger individuals in that field, in the manufacturing arena, not wanting to put the time in, not wanting to work. They want weekends off. So they're like, man, when we were growing up, we worked. We worked hours on end because we wanted things. We wanted stuff. All these kids now want is time. I'm thinking like, man, this is backwards. This is their whole message and thought process is backwards. Mind you, the week before I was sitting in a mastermind group with guys making $100,000 a month and up, and listening to what their principle was, all you have is your time. Your biggest asset is your time. If you waste your time, then you're wasting your life. You need to figure out how to buy your time back and make money while you're sleeping. So in between the two rooms, there was two vastly different messages coming out of that. And me sitting in that meeting, in that corporate meeting, after I had just left the meeting a week before with these entrepreneurs, it let me know, look, man, you better figure out what the hell you got to do to get back out there and go at it again full time. So that was the biggest turning point for me to say, hey, what you got to do, swallow your pride and don't be afraid of, because I had gotten used to the checks coming in every month, and you know what I mean, from my job. And so it was one of those things, man, where look, that message right there was a wake up call, and it helped me a lot. That was my biggest reason for getting out. A guy told me, Mark Evans actually told me, man, you're losing money going to work. You're losing money going to that job.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. Damn, all right, well, yeah, you're right. So that, for me, that was a big one. That was the reason why in 2017, I left and started doing it full time, real estate full time.
Wow, man. Wow. So you said something, man, that I'm getting a little echo. Can you hear that, or is it go away? So you said something, and this is something that I heard Warren Buffett say. Okay, Warren Buffett says, if you don't learn how to make money while you sleep, you're going to work until you die, right? Yep. And you start getting around people, right? The mentorship stuff, you start getting around people, and so but there's a lot of people, a lot of you listening to this. I went through this, starting multiple businesses. Some worked out phenomenally, some failed, but the faster that I got my ass up when I got punched in the mouth and knocked down, the better it was, and the faster I was able to recover. And I think there's I think it's like, it really makes me like sad when I see people like, want to start this business, and you talk to them a year later, it's the same thing. You talk to them a year later, and it's 5 years later, and they're still talking about, oh yeah, when the timing's right. Listen, you guys, if you want to start a business, you want your own hustle, go freaking do it, right? You guys see people on Shark Tank. There is literally when you think of the worst thing that can happen, it's really like, okay, so it doesn't work. I lose my house. I file bankruptcy. Who cares, right? Like, that's not like the end of the world. And so when you think of, starting a new venture, going into entrepreneurship, I think it's important for people to realize, like, hey, this may not work.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. But if it does, man, my life, I can actually have this. And I want to share real quick with everyone a story. I don't know if you saw this. I actually posted on my Facebook. I saw this inspirational message, man, last week. And I couldn't stop watching this. I probably watched it 20 times. And it was a story of this guy. He goes to his grandmother. And his grandmother is, in her 80s, on her deathbed, has maybe a week to live. And he goes to see her, and she's sitting there crying, holding a suitcase. And it had the initials on this suitcase. And he said, hey, Grandma, what's going on? Like, why are you crying? What's wrong? What is this suitcase? And she proceeded to tell him this story of that he never knew about, that when she was young, she met the love of her life. She was maybe in her early 20s, met the love of her life. And they were going to get married and have this amazing life. And she went back home, was in another country. I don't remember where it was, went back home and told her parents. Well, at the time, they didn't have the same belief systems as far as religion. And her parents said, you're never seeing this guy again. That's it. That's it. You're never going to see him again. So for years, this guy would write her, and, the letters would get returned to him. And so here she is, 80 some years old, this lady on her deathbed, and she's holding this suitcase, and the grandson walks in, and she's talking to him, and he asked her what's going on. She tells him this story and said, I never was allowed to see him. And I cannot help but think about how my life would have been had I done what I was supposed to. So she left. She was supposed to come back to another country. They were supposed to get married. She left, never returned back. And here she is, 80 some years old, 50 some years later, with this suitcase still, crying and hysterically on the regrets of not going for something that she really wanted. And listen, you guys, that is freaking sad. There's never a time. It's never when the time's right. People say, well, it's timing. The timing is what you make of it. Well, when I have a kid, well, we'll have kids when we're 30. Well, you're going to have a kid when you freaking have a kid, right? Like I did. And so, there's never going to be a perfect time to take that leap, to start the business, to face your fear and go for something. You do it, and you do it now, period. And once you have that mentality that, it's never going to be the right timing, I just need to stop making excuses. And if I really want this over here, I've got to just take a leap and just go for it. Right. So I thought that was that story really touched me because, I started thinking like, wow, man, what are some things in my life that I haven't went for, that I put up, going to Italy, which has been a dream of mine, to see where my grandmother was born, and all these things. Like, what? I just got to do it, man. I got to just book a ticket, jump on a plane. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be the right time. And I just got to make it happen. And so once you, had that quick story there, but once you went from the corporate world to the entrepreneurship, obviously, ups and downs, right? Yeah, definitely. But what do you have now that, they talked about time, have your time, own your time. Now you have time, right? Now you work from your home office. I think you do, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And you work from your home office. You have the freedom to come and go when you want. And you're in, even though the days aren't perfect, even though like some days are rocks and some days are diamonds, you just keep, at least you have that, your time back. You're doing what you want. You're doing what you love. And we were just talking the other day about a deal that you're doing right now that you have in the process. And I was giving you some just advice. And dude, you're talking about a deal, it's when you start getting into this and you go, oh yeah, I'm going to make 25,000 at the end of the day, or 35 or 40,000. And you look and go, damn, man, I made that in like a year, or half a year or whatever.
Exactly. And those are things you got to think of perspective too. You talked about what brought me back. My daughter, who's now, she just started college this year, but when growing up, I didn't live, me and her mom had separated. So she lived in Cleveland, my daughter did, and I was living in Columbus. At times I was living in Kentucky and moving around for work and working all the hours and days I did. It was so much that I missed of her younger years. When I did go full time in real estate, the time that you talked about freed me up to at least start getting to her events in 11th and 12th grade. I was able to, take the time off and move her up to school, college, and take her and get her moved in and go to all the events for her orientation and stuff like that. What I wouldn't have been able to do necessarily working in corporate America or doing what I was doing before. So the time is the biggest factor. And then, like you said, knowing that you went for something, whether it works or it doesn't, you know what I mean? Having the peace of mind saying, well, I did it, I tried. And the ups and downs are there. It's going to be ups and downs. I'm still not where I want to be in my business, but I'm leaps and bounds ahead of where I was when I first started initially in 2014, or when I went back into it in 2017. So I'm leaps and bounds ahead of myself then, and it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. And so whenever the bumps that we talk about, the hurdles, the ups and downs, and trying to stay consistent and trying to be grateful and show the gratitude when things are sucking and things aren't going that way you want. Yeah, it's easy to look back and say, well, hey, man, if I keep pushing, then next year I'm gonna be that much further ahead. And it's a pretty cool feeling,
Hey man, when you get kicked in the nuts, man, and you got the wind knocked out of you, right? It's hard, like you were saying. It's hard, like how people go, how can you be grateful? Right.
Yeah.
Well, like catch your breath, right, first. And I think that it's not, people, well, what about this? What about that? It's never like you're never not going to get pissed off, right? Stuff's going to happen. It's going to frustrate you. We're going to say things we don't mean. We're going to do things we shouldn't. None of us are perfect, especially me. But what I can tell you is the faster that you can learn to recover from those, right? That when you have a challenge, instead of getting sucked up in it and talking about it and letting it drain your day, you go, hey, that's okay. I'm going to deal with it. Or better yet, I'm going to delegate someone else to deal with that for me. And I'm going to keep my energy up and I'm going to keep moving on, baby. So the faster that you can, I call it like rebooting, when you have something that isn't, I guess in your favor, is to, basically just how fast. It's like having a bat in baseball. How fast can you get over it? Right. Or football, you throw an interception. Does it completely destroy you? Do you go, hey, that's okay, I got it, next down? Right. And that's what you got to do, man, as an entrepreneur. And that's what you've been able to do is, hey, this didn't work out. Like you were saying, hey, I had these deals. Now, something that actually has changed your life too, that I know, because you and I do as well, is meditating, right? Calming your mind, realizing that almost like getting into more of a flow state instead of I got to do this, I got to do that, like what I call like a panic state. People that live in a panic state, man, it's stressful, like being around them,
It is. I was talking to me and my fiance were talking just yesterday, and I was talking about if you want to change your attitude or your belief system, and we're both talking about this. All you got to do is change what you listen to. Change what you're listening to and change what you think. I was doing a lot of driving this week, and what I did not do was listen to any music while I was driving. I probably spent, I don't know, maybe 12 hours on the road this week, just doing different things and doing, some consulting stuff and whatnot. So my goal was to not listen to any music. So I listened to audiobooks nonstop. One particular one, all on loop. Every time I jumped in my car, The Science of Getting Rich, and that's what I do. Just constantly try to fill my head with stuff. If it's a negative or limited belief that I have, then I try to fill my head with and my ears with stuff that's going to speak against that limited belief. They talk about how you can change your limited beliefs or your mindset in your sleep. So I go to sleep with something in my ears every night something to sleep into every night, so that if I want to change that limited thought or that negative belief that I have, then I'm putting something in my ears. So when I'm sleeping, I'm listening to something that's talking about positive growth or whatever it is, and then get up and meditate in the morning. I used to do an hour. Now it's shortened down about 30 minutes, but I used to do an hour every morning. But I try not to miss it. And if I do, I'm meditating at night,
Yeah.
But it helps. Yeah. Definitely helps.
Oh man, and listen, that's a great nugget to share with people. When you're driving now, there's podcasts, right? So you can tune on to a podcast. Some of the best podcasts that for entrepreneurs and people like that. Probably the number one is called DJ's Dugout. Yeah, exactly. What you're listening to right now or watching. Also, you guys, this one, and those of you watching this, you can go on. Actually, we're on iTunes, so you can now go to djsdugout.tv and subscribe to the iTunes and tune in and listen to the guests weekly. But this is a good one called The School of Greatness. Right here, if you guys can see this. This is a really good one by a guy named Lewis Howes. There's Tim Ferriss. Has a really good one that he has some big guests on, high level people, the Oprahs and the, famous actors and athletes and things like that. But, that's you hit the nail on the head, man. It's constantly whatever you're listening to and watching is automatically programming you. It's subconscious. And some people go, well, that's hard. It's like, I'm going to change this. And you wonder why change doesn't happen. It's because these are subconscious. It's everything. 90% of the stuff we do, I heard, is subconscious, which actually shocked me. There's a guy, James Malinchak, has a saying. He says, GIGO. It's GIGO. Good in, good out, garbage in, garbage out. So whatever you're listening to and watching, like you said, what podcast do you listen to? Any podcasts?
I do. I listen to Matt Terry a lot. We got to go with real estate. I listen to a lot of real estate podcasts. But for so most of those are real estate based and whatnot. But when it comes to mindset stuff, I listen to a lot of Abraham Hicks. I listen to a lot of her. Like I said, I listen to a lot of audio books, and some of them I've heard several times. But the Wallace D. Waddell's Science of Getting Rich and the Think and Grow Rich and a few of those. And I got some other ones too that I can't think of offhand, but I kind of put them on rotation. But most of that's what I listen to.
So
Abraham
Hicks, the Vortex. If you guys are looking for something that will really have you be conscious on your energy, who you're around, right? If you're around people and every time you're around certain people, you feel drained or you feel like it just sucks the life out of you. There's a reason for that. You got to pay attention to that. And so listen, those people that are, it's going to be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands over the life of this podcast and in this show. Those people that happen to be in real estate or happen to be, investor or something like that. And they say, man, I'm curious about doing some stuff in Cleveland or, wholesalers, right? People that are wholesaling out there that hear this and it falls on their ears and they want to work with somebody that can help get them, deals, help guide them down a path. Now you mentioned, and I don't even know what it is. Maybe it's nothing you want to put out there, but you mentioned you're doing some mentoring as well. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, and that is the consulting part is that I came from.
Got it.
Might as well make some money off of it too. So that's another type of income that I've added in for myself. But so that is not dealing with the real estate. That's on the more of a manufacturing.
Okay, so those people that are in Canton, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, any of that, Canton, Cleveland, Akron, maybe, and really anywhere in the Cleveland area, it's one of the top areas right now to buy cash flow investment properties, probably in the world. What if people say, hey man, I'm wholesaling, I really want to, like, you can actually take the deals down, and buy them yourself. So what is a way that people can get in touch with you? What's the best way? Obviously they can, see this or listen to this and send you a Facebook message, but are you comfortable giving out your phone number?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. My phone number is area code 614 352 0596.
Okay, and those of you that are watching this, I'm gonna hide these here. Those of you that are watching this, is that right? 614-352-0596?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
It. Your text or whatever, call, text, I'm available. Just let me know.
Probably text, man. None of us answer our phones anymore, right?
Better. I'll respond pretty quick.
I'm like, oh, who is that? Oh, I'll call back. You got to text me. But yeah, and hey, hey, you shared, some really valuable stuff today, and I think probably the big takeaways are, aside from like working when you're 9, and for people to get off their ass and actually like work, I think investing in mentorship, obviously massive, can really make a game-changing difference in your life. Also, listening to shows, I call it stacking. Where when you're doing a task, like say you're driving or you're working at something in your office, and where you can actually, if you have the ability to do this, you can listen to something while I'm doing another task. Or if I'm working out, right? When I'm working out, I can listen to an audiobook or something, and you can stack these things so you're basically more efficient with your time, right? And do you do that as well?
Yeah, I do. I'm worried if I'm in the house doing anything, I'll have something in the background. I may not even be listening, but I always believe that subconsciously you're getting it anyway. So even if I'm not paying attention or sitting down directly and listening to it, I'll have it playing in the background, over some speakers or whatever the case is, and just and let it play, and I may not be listening to it, focusing on what's being said, but I believe subconsciously it's still getting in you. So yeah, everything I do around the house, if I'm doing anything, I'll put something in the background where it's feeding me some type of way.
Totally. Positive, Oh man, it's so good, man, so good. So those of you that on the show today, please, there's so many people out there. I don't, this isn't something that I do to make money. It's not we do this show for you guys each week to inspire you, to motivate you, to encourage you, to give you hope where maybe you don't have hope. And hopefully you've heard something today. If you have, awesome, please like this, comment on here. And also please share this, be it on your wall, would be awesome. But share it with people that that need to hear this. This is why we do it. It's strictly to encourage people and give you hope on helping you be better in life and maybe a little more successful as an entrepreneur. So with that said, you guys, Zelig, thanks for being on here, bro. I appreciate it, man. We're going to talk here in a few minutes. But Devin said, my son said, always providing amazing free information to help people succeed. So amazing, you guys. Yeah, you guys, this is why we do this. It's strictly to basically just be that, like what you were saying, right? That good word for the day. So, and a couple good looking guys, man. I mean, and it doesn't hurt.
Right.
Yeah. Rocket and Tubbs here, baby. So anyways, man, love you guys. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you on the next show every single week. You can tune in live at 12:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right on Facebook Live on DJ Thielen Live or my personal page. And we'll see you guys on the next show. Have an awesome day.
Thanks, DJ.
You got it, man.